led me here is, from a young age, I was taught that our God-given rights should be in every people. And if they don't, we can never call ourselves free. So, just like today, I'm prepared to defend my community and my state from federal tyranny. But when the purest of acts that you have dedicated your life to defend your God-given rights, when you become educated that even in this act, that you can still be assisting an organization that is bent on eliminating 80% of the world's population for their own enslavement agenda, what do? Do you still pick up a gun and go fight with the revolution? Do you still push, protect your God-given rights in that way? This is all I know to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to come up here and pour my heart and soul out to you and beg you to please, please stand up as individuals and put in hands. 2 years ago, I never thought I'd be standing in front of a group. The group has always been the most uncomfortable place I've found myself. But like I said, I don't know what else to do. Here I am. I'm running for a federal position. And looking back from the founding of our country till today, the federal position has always been the biggest division in slavery. You have corporate powers, you have political agendas, you have so many factions and factors running. And today, it basically comes to a head that these factors and factions are running for the same end agenda. That is to crash our economy and our country just like they did Soviet Russia while milking the people of everything they can on the way down. So what do? Do we stand up as individuals? Do we take our destiny back, or do we allow it to stay in the hands of the corporations and willpower elite? Freedom is really the only solution. Looking back at the founding of this country, Thomas Jefferson seems to pop out the most in my mind as for my situation. And I believe he said it best when he said to educate the mass of the people as a whole, because they are our only sure reliance on the preservation of our liberties. Nobody can do this by themselves. Not through violent revolution, not through political revolution. Only the people can fix this problem. So what the people need is someone who's willing to stick their neck out and risk their life against the power elite to expose what they're doing in our country, to expose what they're doing in the world. We're allowing ourselves to be led by fear, and that's only furthering the agenda of destruction. Since the founding of the United Nations, World War I and World War II, we're supposed to be the wars to end all wars. Since the United Nations has really ceded power in our world, we have more war, more famine, and more poverty than ever before as a whole in the world. I've got 8 pages of a speech here. It's very informative, very enlightening, but I don't feel that this needs to be scripted. I really don't feel that this needs to be scripted, because I'm here to pour my heart and soul out to you. I've reached my moral limit, and I'm here to try and get your support to help me with this moral limit. What do you do?
Oh, you got plenty of time.
There are a few points in this speech I want to hit. I'd really like to get through it all, but I just don't have the time. What we see today, when you have not just the usurpation of power, but the aggregation of wealth into a few hands, that aggregation of wealth is then reinvested into the manipulation and the further aggregation of that wealth. Today we have huge corporations, multinational corporations, going into third world countries and taking their water rights. They call it privatization of water, but what they do is they use the local government to force the people into laws that they wouldn't ordinarily go on. Some countries, the people are allowed to gather rainwater for their own consumption. Only get water from purchasing it from the corporation. Today we see uprisings and such in many third world countries, and what it should go to show us is that we have been indoctrinated into this for many, many, many decades. And they have not. They have risen up, they have taken their places with their governments, and then corporations come in and usurp their power, and they see it because they don't have the corporate media control over their lives. best way to really look at the level of control of secret societies, the globalists, and everything in our world is to look at our founding fathers. They saw the exact same thing again. Exact same thing. Back then, they didn't really have the means to fulfill a political revolution. They didn't have the structure that they have created for us to have a government that has the ability to be by form of the consensus of others. And we do. So violent revolution is not only not needed, but it's only going to further their agenda. Only going to further their agenda. It says in the Declaration of Independence, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for life and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms for which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object invites a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. Today we must drop our political thought, unite as individuals, make real change, and then we may again begin to build a higher society. That is the essence of why the country was created. Freedom and justice for all. It has been taken away from us to a point now where ignorance runs so rampant. People know more about Hollywood than they do about their government. They know more about how much Pamela Anderson made last year than they know how much the government spent. The only way to fix this is for the individual to stand up and start getting out there and doing the work. Patriots like me have been doing it for years. I've been doing this for 10 years, educating myself. I believe in states' rights. I haven't been out on the political scene because, I enjoy my home life. I build houses right now in roofing. I believe it's one of the most honorable trades you can have. You build dwellings for other free and independent people. It's a beautiful thing, it really is. But if we don't start to embrace freedom and independence for what it really is, then we'll never get through problems. And so long as we, not necessarily as individuals today in this horrible economy, utilize some of the things that are coming out of our government right now to stay alive, we must actively fight, actively stand up against what is going on today, not only in our government, but from corporate groups, secret societies, globalist groups. And the globalist groups really play the biggest part in our federal government. Their agenda is to take away our sovereignty, merge us with other countries, or merge us into the world as a whole. Central banks like our own and the World Bank are one of the biggest centers of this corruption in the world. I'd like to read one more thing here. Charles A. Lindbergh Sr. said at the time of the passage of the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, made a comment about the money trust investigation. Basically, politicized or informing about the money trust investigation and showed that exactly what was being legalized in the Federal Reserve Act was already proven to be a criminal act. But in essence, what the Federal Reserve Act did was legalize that criminal act. And like our founding fathers said, the reason we have government, the reason we are